bum. I want her in my wigwam. She's just the way I want her to be. A million times hotter than TNT. Oh, hey, boys and girls. Welcome back to my camp. It's Boney Joe and Pipboy. Happy New Year. We're in the camp today doing a little bit of building. We're trying to make some tables. We decided to craft up some tables, found some cool plans in the wasteland. Found this blue bandana too. Supposed to give me +2 charisma. Do I seem more charismatic, kids? Pipboy and me have been having a crazy time. They opened Vault 76. Needless to say, haven't had a whole lot of time for working on the campsite. But today, we're working on a table. Found a bunch of bulk scrap steel in the wasteland. Still looking for screws. If anybody knows where I can find a bunch of bulk screws, I need a bunch of bulk screws. But once I upgrade my power armor with those screws, then I'm sure I'll need something else like black titanium. But today, we're working on some flat steel. We're cutting some pieces off. I just cut this piece. This is 17 inches long. I just checked it with my tape measure. Yep, 17 inches. I don't know if you boys and girls can see that or not. But what we're going to do is, we need 4 of these. We have one. We need 3 more. So today we're using an abrasive chop saw. Abrasive chop saw. Kind of like Boney Joe when he's mad. He gets a little abrasive. This is even more abrasive. It's cutting up steel. What do we know about cutting steel? Common sense. Use your glasses. Use your hearing protection. Now, that's not actually hearing protection, is it? I guess it's my Bluetooth. Anyway, it keeps me connected to my Pipboy. Not this Pipboy, my other Pipboy. So what we're going to do is, we cut a 17-inch piece off. We're going to use this as a template. Boys and girls know what a template is? Well, it's a way of guaranteeing that each piece after this piece are exactly the same length. So, we're going to take our saw, we're going to put this piece up against it, and that's going to tell us right where we need to be for length. And there it is. So we're going to lower our saw right to where it needs to be, which is right there. We're going to tighten the jig. And we're going to let the sparks fly. Might want to get the electrical wiring out of the way of where the sparks are flying. So boys and girls, if Boney Joe did anything right, why these 2 pieces are going to be the exact same length. And they are just that. So we need to get 2 more of these pieces cut. We're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to lay this piece on here like this. We're going to lower the saw blade like this. Butt that right up again it like that. We're going to tighten down the jig again. And we're going to cut it over. One more just like the first 2. So we're going to lay our piece on here. We're going to line it up with the blade. Looks like it might be a little short. There we go. That's better. We're going to tighten down the jig. And there we go. Have you ever seen anything so impressive? That saw cuts through this metal like a hot knife cuts butter. I don't really know why anybody needs to cut butter with a hot knife. I guess if the butter's too cold, you might want to use a hot knife. I don't know. I would think having a hot knife in the kitchen might be dangerous, especially you kids. Speaking of hot knives, I don't know if you kids can see, when you use a chop saw, you get these little slivers of metal on here. These are as sharp as a razor blade, and they are quite hot. So not only will they burn you, they'll cut you real good, especially if you're not wearing gloves. What did I tell you kids about wearing gloves? Always wear gloves. Don't do what Boney Joe and Pipboy do because, well, you know, my hands don't have a lot of feeling in them. When I wear gloves, I can't really concentrate. So I take a lot of risk by not wearing gloves, and I also use a lot of Band-Aids. You guys know that Band-Aids are hard to find in the wasteland, especially now. boys and girls, I'm going to grind off a couple more of these sharp edges so that we don't get cut. And when we come back, Boney Joe and Pipboy are going to start tack welding the framework of our tables together. So you all just hang out and have some fun, and we'll be back in a little bit. Oh, hey boys and girls. Pipboy and me are getting ready to weld together the framework of the small table that we're doing. Right now we're using our triangle to see if things are square. I know we've covered this in past episode of it. We covered all about the square and how damn confusing squares can be. But we are just about ready to get welding here. Boney Joe needs to take off a little bit of his stuff here so we don't get into trouble. Nothing worse than steel mixing with gold. It creates a real mess. Anyway, so we've got our corners marked up here. We're looking pretty square. I think we're going to be just fine to tack weld these little buggers into place. Remember, kids, watch your eyes whenever we're welding. If you stare directly at the weld, well, you might go a little blind. We don't want any of our YouTube viewers to be going blind on us. That wouldn't be good. That would definitely be a bad thing. This corner looks nice and square, so we're going to go ahead and tack it as well. And we're going to go under this magnet. No, I guess we're not. So we're just going to leave that one go. Take this magnet off now. Hit the bottom corner. That corner's looking pretty good. To me, this corner should be square. Pretty close. A little tap, tap, tap. Square is really important, boys and girls, if you want your table to look good. Everything needs to come together nice and square. If it doesn't, well, you have a funny looking table. So we're going to hit this corner now. Corner's looking pretty good. This one, I don't know. This is a new tool that we got over here, boys and girls. Not sure if I like how it works or not. It's kind of like a vice grip. At the bottom needs to come in just a smooth on that. I think we're going to be close enough to make that work. And there we go, boys and girls. There's the framework for our table. This is one of the little end tables. We're doing a big table also. But as you can see, it's a nice square box. Talk about square. These magnets here, these are to keep things square too. You kids want to try to figure that one out? I will never, as long as I live, understand square. But, you know, we're looking pretty good on all our corners. So I'm going to say that this one's done. We're going to set up. We're going to do a couple of the long pieces for the long table and see what we end up with from that. So boys and girls, kids, have some fun today. We're going to come back tomorrow when we're going to start doing the framework to lay in the table for the inlaid pieces of wood. So until then, keep your stim packs handy. Keep lots of boiled water or purified water on hand, because in the wasteland now, especially that they open 76, you got to stay fed, you got to stay hydrated. Speaking of hydrated, where is my soot flour tea? Make a little soot flour tea to help me get the morning going. Thank you once again for being here today. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to start working on some of the interior workings of our tabletop. So anyway, boys and girls, me and Pipboy, we'll talk to y'all later. Thank you. Well, hey there, boys and girls. Welcome back. Boney Joe and Pipboy, we're just putting a few finishing touches on these cross members here that we're going to be using for our tabletop framework. Pipboy and I have had a pretty busy day. We've done lots of fun stuff today. Actually went to work for a little bit. Gonna blow some dust off. You know, metal dust, metal filings really do interfere with your work, especially when you're using magnets. You need to get good contact with your welder down on the metal. So we're going to grab our tabletop piece, just like this here. We're going to bring it up. Now we have 9 individual pieces that have to span across a 66-inch piece of metal. I've actually already done a little bit of the math on it. We're going to put a mark about every 8 1/4 inches, and that should take us right to the end of our job. Now you boys and girls know that everything has to be a little bit even, but in Boney Joe's world, I'm a little more lax than Pipboy. Pipboy likes everything to be just right, every little millimeter. But, you know, I looked at the plan. The plan is okay. I don't really care about it because this is for me. And all it has to do is be nice and even, and everything needs to balance out. So if we did everything the way we were supposed to, when we get to the end right here, there it is, 8 1/4 inches. It's not real complicated. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's on the underside. We're just going to have metal slats going across here, and that's going to hold our wood in place when we lay the wood down on the tabletop. Now there's a couple of things that we have to take into consideration while we're putting our pieces of metal in place, because you see the wooden tabletop needs to be flush. Flush means dead even, or even just a teeny bit below the edges of the wood. So see, what Boney Joe has done here today is we got some sample pieces of the 12mm flooring. 12 millimeters the thickness of the flooring that we're using. And we added a piece of duct tape to the back of it. Now the reason we put duct tape on there is so that when we put these pieces in place, we're going to slide this right underneath the edge. And then that way when the pieces go onto here and they're all welded in place, the top piece will lay perfectly flat. So this is the bottom side you're looking at now. We'll be flipping this over here in a little bit, and we'll be showing you exactly what we're talking about. So we're going to start with our corners. Little corner piece here. We're going to get this in place. And we're going to make sure once again that everything's squared up nice and even. I don't even know if you boys and girls can see me working on that side. Let me just come on over here. And no, I don't think you were able to even see me. So let's turn this over this way so maybe get a little better look at what Boney Joe's doing. There we go. Alright, so we got this set up. We got our square triangle square doodad. We're going to check our corners. They're pretty close. They're a little teeny bit off. But boy, I don't think that's going to be anything that we need to write hallmark about. So we got our welder. We're going to nip our wire clean, and we're going to tack this first piece in place just to see where we're at. Now again, we need to make sure that we hold down nice and tight on this piece of wood so that when we get her finished up, our wood stays flush. Well, there's the first one done. Now we ran into a little problem earlier, and I'm not sure what we're going to do about correcting it. Boney Joe had already done one of these pieces. So what we're going to try and do now is we're going to use a clamp hold this down to the table so that it doesn't bow. Boney Joe ran into a little problem earlier when he welded the pieces together on the starter piece, the test piece if you will, and it lost a little bit of its straightness, which once we go putting the wood in place is going to create a definite problem for us. We don't want that to happen. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to make sure that this piece is nice and straight on this edge. We're going to use a couple of C-clamps, which ought to be called a G-clamp because, I mean, let's face it, boys and girls. Does that look like a C or does that look like the letter G? I think it looks like the letter G. But they call it a C-clamp, and I didn't make the name for it, so, you know, it is what it's going to be. Sometimes the powers that be get to make all the rules. And as everybody knows, Boney Joe hates them damn rules. There we go. Well, that looks nice and straight. Now, boys and girls, everybody know what this is. It's a yardstick, but more importantly, it's called a straight edge. And what we're going to do with this straight edge is we're going to lay it down on here. We're going to make sure that as we go along here and tack these pieces in place, that they stay nice and straight. And that's how we're going to do it, just like that. Now, if these don't stay nice and straight when we put our piece of wood in place, well, it's just going to look unsightly. And boys and girls, Boney Joe doesn't want to look unsightly. So we're going to stay with it right the way we are there. We're going to tack in a few more of these pieces, and we're going to come right back and show you how it all works. So you hang tight, and we'll get to you in a minute. Okay, boys and girls, Boney Joe and Pipboy are here. We got all of our little cross pieces welded into place. We're going to flip our rascal over. And we're going to put a little weld on each one of these on the top side, just so as we know everything went nice and straight and smooth and even. I think Boney Joe needs to flip this over and put a little weld right about in the middle of this sucker. There's nothing seems to be holding that thing in place there. Can't have that, so we're going to put a little weld here. Don't want our sides to go in there. Boy, there's just something so nice about a good old MIG welder. It's like this weld here didn't even hold up. That's a little better at least. Oh yeah, that one needs touch too. There we go. A couple of nice little welds on there. Make sure we got this side nice and tight. Last thing we wanted to do is get all put together and find out that we missed something or left something up. Remember, boys and girls, Boney Joe's mottos. There's the right way, there's the wrong way, and there's Boney Joe's way. Yeah. Growing up, my father taught me that you do something right the first time, don't have to do it again. That's an important task. And I can remember many a time that I probably should have done it a little better the first time. Probably wouldn't have got some of the whoopings that I got. Want to make sure that all these welds are nice and tight. Nothing's going anywhere. Alright, we're going to go ahead and flip it over. And we're going to take a look-see at how the wood's going to lay in here. Now, we got a little piece of this here flooring wood. That's going to be our tabletop. We're just going to lay it right in there. Ha ha, would you look at that, boys and girls. I don't know if you kids can see that or not. A little hot. But this is how the tabletop's going to be. Got this nice 12mm laminate flooring. Of course, we're going to do some stuff with it to get it to fit. This is just to make sure that once it's in place, it fits the way it's supposed to. And it's looking pretty good. This one's nice and straight, so this is definitely going to be our top piece. And again, boys and girls, that's what we're going to have. So Boney Joe's going to do some welding, he's going to do some grinding, and then tomorrow maybe we're going to start working on the legs. Get this bad boy up in the air. Boys and girls, thanks for being with us today. Boney Joe and Pipboy, starting off the new year right, giving everybody a little bit of love. Have fun, be creative, don't be afraid. If you make a mistake, throw it away, start over again, don't give up. Have a great night, everybody. Boney Joe loves you, Pipboy loves you. We'll see you again tomorrow when we start working on getting some legs under the tables.